After isometrics, we want to introduce isotonics. So now we're moving that ankle in that Achilles from a shortened position to a lengthened position. A couple of different ways you can do that based on how your Achilles responds to these particular exercises. We can do this just on the ground, just a ground-based calf raise, and just controlling the eccentric. Always recommend slow and controlled early on rather than whipping through that motion. Tend to find people that move too quickly through these calf raises tend to flare up the Achilles more so than those that move slowly. So start slow, introduce a nice controlled load throughout that Achilles tendon without moving too quickly. Again, working on anywhere from 2 to 4 sets, 10 to 20 repetitions, just finding where you fit into that rep scheme to add the appropriate amount of dose without causing any kind of painful reaction. From there, what we could also do in that same exact calf raise, introduce a little bit more range of motion. So as you can see, I'm elevated on the plate here. So as I go down, I'm gonna go down into a greater degree of ankle dorsiflexion. So there's more stretch and more load into that Achilles tendon. I can perform a calf raise there. What I usually like to do is find what's the hardest variation of a movement that I can introduce, which creates a low-level pain stimulus, so maybe nothing more than a 3 out of 10, and that pain goes away within 24 hours after completing the exercise, to determine where should I input someone into that progression or rehab program. So if I notice, hey, this only creates probably a 2 out of 10 on the pain scale, this is probably where I want to put them early on to start to load, introduce more load throughout the range of motion. But if you feel like, hey, adding a step or some kind of elevation and deficit creates more symptoms, maybe it's a 5 out of 10 compared to this is only a 2 out of 10, then I want to go on the ground there, eliminate some of that range of motion early on, and then progress to the deficit as I go. But anywhere from 2 to 4 sets, 10 to 20 repetitions, and figuring out what is the appropriate amount of dosing to load the tendon without creating some kind of painful reaction.